As the gentle light of the day begins to fade and the shadows lengthen across the floor, we find ourselves settling into a space of quiet reflection. It is a time to let the noise of the world drift away, to let the urgent demands of the present moment dissolve into the soft, rhythmic breathing of the night. We are here to explore, to wander through the corridors of memory and digital echoes, but we do so with a sense of calm detachment, like walking through a museum after hours, when the halls are silent and the exhibits sleep in the dim light. Let your body find its most comfortable position. Allow your shoulders to drop, allow your jaw to unclench, and feel the weight of gravity gently anchoring you to the earth. There is nowhere else you need to be, nothing else you need to do. There is only this voice and the slow, meandering river of stories that we are about to navigate. Tonight, we turn our gaze toward a peculiar landscape, a realm that exists entirely within screens and servers, a world of pixels and light. We often think of the internet as a place of noise and speed, a chaotic storm of information. But if you slow down, if you look past the brightness and the movement, you will find that it is also a graveyard of moments. It is a vast digital archive of frozen seconds, snapshots of lives interrupted, emotions captured and held in suspension forever. We call them memes, small cultural artifacts that travel from mind to mind, images that make us laugh or nod in recognition. They are the shorthand of our modern communication. But behind every pixelated face, behind every caption and every joke, there lies a reality, a true story. And sometimes, when we peel back the layers of humor and repetition, we find something deeper, something more complex, and occasionally, something unsettlingly profound. It is a strange alchemy, how a moment of tragedy, or fear, or profound grief can be transformed by the collective mind into a symbol of laughter. It speaks to our human need to distance ourselves from pain, to wrap the sharp edges of reality in the soft cotton of humor. Consider for a moment the image of a woman screaming. You have seen her countless times. Her face is contorted in raw, unbridled emotion, her finger pointing accusingly, tears welling in her eyes. Beside her, in a split screen, sits a white cat, confused, sitting at a dinner table. The contrast is absurd. The juxtaposition creates a spark of humor that has traveled across the globe. We use this image to express our own petty frustrations, our arguments over trivial things. But let us step through the screen and into the reality of that frozen second. The air in the room is heavy, charged with the electricity of a breaking heart. The woman is Taylor Armstrong, a real person living a life of immense complexity. The moment captured was not a performance, not a skit designed for our amusement. It was a moment of genuine, crushing despair. She was in the midst of a dark chapter, navigating the treacherous waters of an abusive relationship, dealing with the aftermath of a tragedy that had shaken her world to its core. The scream was not just a sound, it was the release of a pressure that had been building for years, a cry for help, a manifestation of trauma that the cameras just happened to catch. As we drift deeper into this thought, imagine the silence that must have followed that scream. The heavy, suffocating quiet of a room where something irreparable has happened. The internet took that moment of supreme vulnerability and froze it. We stripped away the context, the pain, the history, and left only the image. Does the image hold the ghost of that pain? If we look closely, past the text we overlay, past the jokes, can we see the shadow of the sorrow that birthed it? It is a reminder that everyone we see on our screens is carrying a universe of unseen burdens. The digital world flattens us, turns us into paper dolls, but the human spirit is three-dimensional, heavy with the weight of experience. Let this thought settle, not to disturb your peace, but to deepen your empathy, to remind us that behind every facade there is a beating heart, seeking safety, seeking understanding. Now, let your mind drift to another scene. Imagine a suburban street, bathed in the warm, hazy light of a seemingly ordinary afternoon. In the foreground, a little girl stands, looking back at the camera. There is a slight smile on her face, a knowing look, perhaps even a hint of satisfaction, and behind her, a house is consumed by flames. This is the image we know as Disaster Girl. It is the perfect visual metaphor for chaos, for the feeling of watching the world burn while we remain untouched. We project onto this child a sense of mischief, as if she were the architect of the destruction behind her. But reality, as it often does, offers a gentler truth. The fire was not a tragedy, but a training exercise. The local fire department had set the blaze purposefully to learn, to practice the art of saving lives. The fire, terrifying as it looks, was under control. It was a controlled burn, a simulation of danger rather than danger itself. The girl, Zoe, was simply watching. Her expression, caught by her father's camera, was not one of malice, but of simple, childhood curiosity, perhaps a reaction to the heat or the strange spectacle of seeing a home dismantled by fire. Yet, there is something haunting about the image, is there not? It taps into a primal fear, the fear of destruction, and the uncanny stillness of the observer. It reminds us of how we often feel in the modern world, watching events unfold from a distance, separated from the heat by a screen, observing the fires of history with a strange, detached calm. Breathe in deeply and exhale slowly. Let the image of the fire fade, replaced by the cool, soothing darkness of a forest at twilight. The air here is crisp, smelling of pine needles and damp earth. The trees stand tall and silent, sentinels watching over the quiet paths. In the early days of the internet, stories began to circulate about a figure in these woods. A tall, faceless entity wearing a dark suit. They called him Slender Man. He was born not from folklore, not from ancient history, but from a contest on a forum, a digital creation designed to unsettle. But stories, once told, have a way of taking on a life of their own. They escape the bounds of their creators. This fiction, born of pixels and text, began to bleed into reality. It is a disturbing truth of our psychology that if we believe in something strongly enough, it begins to manifest in our world. For some, the line between the digital ghost and the physical world blurred. The story, meant to be a campfire tale for the digital age, became a lens through which vulnerable minds viewed reality. It whispers to us about the power of suggestion, the power of the narrative. We create our own monsters, and sometimes we forget that we are the ones holding the pen. Let us walk away from the woods now, leaving the shadows behind. Let us step into a different kind of space, a space of concrete and glass, the controlled environment of a zoo. Here, we encounter the memory of Harambe. To the internet, he became a saint, a martyr, a punchline, a chaotic symbol of a year that felt like it was spiraling out of control. But strip away the noise, strip away the millions of captions and the ironic tributes. Return to the quiet of the enclosure on that fateful day. A majestic creature, a silverback gorilla, living his life within the confines of human observation. He was a being of immense power and gentle intelligence, existing in a world he did not choose. The tragedy that unfolded, the child falling, the confusion, the sharp, sudden crack of a rifle, is a story of a collision between worlds, nature and civilization, innocence and danger, instinct and protocol. The disturbing truth here is not just the loss of life, but the way we processed it. We took a moment of profound sadness, the death of a magnificent animal and the terror of a child, and we turned it into a carnival. We laughed to keep from crying. We made him a meme because the reality of his death, the finality of it, the unfairness of it, was too heavy to hold without the buffer of irony. It makes one wonder, how many other tragedies have we diluted with laughter? How many moments of silence have we filled with noise? Because the silence was too loud. Drift further now. Let the current of these stories carry you gently. The water is calm, the ripples spreading out slowly. Think of the image of a cartoon frog. His eyes are heavy, his expression one of malaise, or perhaps a stoned contentment. Pepe. He began his life as a harmless doodle, a character in a simple comic about roommates living a slacker lifestyle. His catchphrase, "Feels good, man," was innocent, a celebration of small, simple pleasures. But the journey of this image is a dark parable of the internet age. It is the story of lost control. The artist, Matt Fury, created something with love, a reflection of his own gentle humor. But the internet seized it. It took the frog and twisted him. It painted him with the colors of hate, of bigotry, of extremism. Imagine the horror of the creator watching his child, his artistic creation, being kidnapped and transformed into a symbol of everything he opposed. It is a disturbing violation, a theft of meaning. It speaks to the fragility of intent. Once we release something into the world, it no longer belongs to us. It belongs to the crowd. And the crowd can be cruel. The artist tried to reclaim him. He even drew a comic depicting the character's funeral, trying to lay him to rest, to end the cycle of corruption. But on the internet, nothing ever truly dies. The ghost of the frog continues to haunt the darker corners of the web, a reminder that symbols are malleable and that meaning is a battlefield. Let that battlefield fade. Let the noise of the conflict dissolve into white noise. Imagine instead a simple room, a kitchen. A dog sits on a chair. The room is engulfed in flames. The dog holds a coffee mug and says, "This is fine." We use this image constantly. It is the anthem of our times. We use it when work is overwhelming, when the news is terrifying, when our personal lives are crumbling. This is fine. The artist, K.C. Green, drew this as a reflection of his own struggles with depression and medication. It was not just about ignoring a fire. It was about the terrifying numbness that can accompany mental health struggles. The feeling that the world is ending and you are too exhausted to move, too drained to panic. You simply sit and sip your coffee and accept the heat. The disturbing truth behind this meme is its universality. It resonates with us because we all feel, at some level, that we are sitting in a burning room. It acknowledges a collective anxiety, a sense that things are unraveling, and that our only defense is a sort of paralyzed acceptance. But there is a strange comfort in it too. If we are all in the burning room, then at least we are not alone. We are all sipping our coffee together, watching the flames, finding a moment of stillness in the chaos. And what of the faces that are not cartoons? What of the real people who became symbols of bad luck or awkwardness? Think of the boy in the plaid sweater vest, with the braces and the reddish face. Bad Luck Brian. In reality, his name is Kyle. The photo was a school picture, a moment of teenage awkwardness that he likely hoped would be forgotten in a yearbook. Instead, it was scanned, uploaded, and suddenly his face became the universal symbol for failure. Imagine waking up one day and finding that your face, your identity, is being used by millions of strangers to tell stories of humiliation. For some, this fame is a fun anecdote, but underneath, there is a disturbing loss of privacy, a loss of the right to be forgotten. In the pre-digital age, our awkward phases were stored in dusty albums in our parents' attics. They were private memories, viewed with nostalgia. Now, they are public property. It raises a quiet question. As we drift through this digital dreamscape, do we own our own faces? Do we own our own pasts? Or are we simply raw material for the content machine? The silence of the internet is deceptive. It is a silence filled with millions of voices, all shouting into the void, hoping to be heard. Let us consider one more story, a story that touches on the very nature of reality and fiction. You may have seen the image of a man, an older gentleman, with a pained expression, holding a cup of coffee or working at a laptop. He looks like he is smiling, but his eyes tell a different story. We call him Hide the Pain Harold. The man is Andras Arato. He was a retired electrical engineer from Hungary. He had lived a full life, a serious life of work and family. One day, he agreed to pose for some stock photos. He thought they would be used for doctors' offices or brochures. He did not realize that his natural expression, a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes, would speak to a generation of people who feel the need to mask their true emotions. When he first discovered he was a meme, he was terrified. He felt mocked. He felt that his dignity had been stripped away. He spent years trying to hide from it, trying to delete the internet, trying to erase the digital footprint. But it was like trying to hold back the tide with a spoon. The disturbing element here is the initial cruelty. The internet saw a man and decided he was a joke. They didn't know his history, his accomplishments, his humanity. They only saw the pain. But, in a twist that offers a glimmer of hope, Andras eventually embraced it. He accepted the role. He realized that by becoming the face of hiding the pain, he was actually helping people express their own. He traveled the world. He gave talks. He found a new chapter in his life. Yet, the shadow remains. The shadow of how easily we reduce a human being to a single emotion, how we strip them of their complexity. As we near the end of our journey, let the images fade. The screaming woman, the burning house, the gorilla, the frog, the man with the sad smile. Let them all dissolve into a soft, grey mist. These stories, these disturbing truths, are not meant to frighten you. They are simply reflections of the human condition. We are fragile, we are messy, we are full of contradictions. And the internet, this vast electric ocean, simply holds a mirror up to us. It shows us our cruelty, yes, but it also shows us our resilience. It shows us how we use humor to survive trauma, how we use images to connect with one another across vast distances. The disturbing nature of these stories lies in the disconnect, the gap between the real human experience and the pixelated image. But tonight, in this quiet space, we have bridged that gap. We have remembered the humans behind the memes. We have honored their stories. We have given them back their context. And in doing so, perhaps we have found a way to forgive ourselves for laughing. We laugh because life is hard. We laugh because the room is burning. We laugh because sometimes it is the only thing we can do. Now, the screen is dark. The stories are told. The ghosts of the internet are at rest. Feel the peace of your own reality returning. The bed beneath you, the blanket covering you, the air filling your lungs. You are here. You are safe. You are not a meme. You are a breathing, living, complex being, entitled to your own private moments, your own unrecorded dreams. Let the silence wrap around you like a warm coat. There is no need to scroll, no need to click, no need to share. Just be. Drift on the gentle waves of sleep, carried by the knowledge that while the digital world never sleeps, you can. You can disconnect. You can fade into the velvet darkness, where there are no pixels, only peace. Good night to the digital ghosts. Good night to the frozen moments, and good night to you. As the silence deepens, allow your mind to wander to the spaces between the stories we've shared. Think of the vast, empty spaces of the internet, the abandoned websites, the forums where no one has posted in a decade, the digital ruins that mirror the ancient ruins of our physical world. There is a strange melancholy in an abandoned blog, a diary that stops abruptly. Did the writer simply lose interest? Did they move on? Or did life intervene in a more permanent way? These are the silent memorials that litter the landscape of the web, unseen by most, but present nonetheless. Imagine floating through these digital archives like a diver exploring a sunken ship. The data is there, preserved in the cold dark of the server, waiting for a witness that may never come. It is a testament to our desire to leave a mark, to say, I was here, I felt this, I saw this. Even the most trivial meme is a version of this cry. It is a message in a bottle, thrown into the electronic sea. Most will sink, some will wash ashore on distant islands, found by strangers who will never know the sender. Consider the success kid, a baby on a beach, fist clenched, face determined. The internet decided this was a symbol of victory, of small wins. Finding an extra onion ring in your fries, waking up before the alarm. But the true story is simply a mother taking a picture of her son, Sammy, who was about to eat a handful of sand. The determination was not for success, but for the gritty taste of the beach. It is a moment of pure, unadulterated childhood innocence. Years later, that same image, that same internet fame, would be used to save his father's life. When Sammy's dad needed a kidney transplant, the internet remembered the face. The community that had laughed at the meme rallied to help the family. The success became real. The meme became a lifeline. This is the duality we face. The internet can be a place of disturbing detachment, where we mock the pain of others. But it can also be a place of miraculous connection, where a frozen moment from the past can reach out and change the future. It is a tapestry of light and shadow, and we are the weavers. Breathe into that complexity, accept it. The world is not one thing or the other, it is both. It is the fire and the water, the scream and the laughter, the sand and the success. Feel your breathing slow down even further now. The rhythm is steady, like the tide coming in and going out. In and out. Let go of the need to understand it all. The stories are just ripples. You are the ocean, deep, vast, and still. Imagine a heavy curtain being drawn across the window of your mind. The light from the screen is blocked out. The noise is muffled. You are cocooned in a sanctuary of quiet. The characters we spoke of tonight, Zoe, Taylor, Harambe, Kyle, Andras, they are all sleeping too, in their own corners of the world, or in the peace beyond it. We leave them to their rest. We release them from our attention. The energy of the day dissipates. The thoughts that have been circling your head begin to slow down, their orbits decaying until they drift away into the nothingness. There is a profound beauty in forgetting, in letting the details slide away. In the digital world, nothing is forgotten. But in the world of sleep, forgetting is a gift. It is the way we renew ourselves. So let yourself forget the words I have spoken. Let the stories dissolve. Keep only the feeling of relaxation, the feeling of heaviness in your limbs, the feeling of safety. You are drifting, floating, weightless. The darkness is not empty, it is full of potential. It is the soil from which dreams grow. Rest now. Silence is the canvas. Sleep is the paint. Let yourself become the art of rest. Good night.